call 911 in Sedgwick County, half the time it will not be answered by a real person. Staffing shortages and competitive pay markets are affecting 911 centers across the nation and right here in Kansas.
For months, Factfinder 12 investigator Haley Tucker has broken down the numbers and shares what the center is working on to combat this and what you can do to help. Haley?
Rachel, Mike, last year there were 500,000 911 calls to Sedgwick County 911. More than 271,000 of them weren't immediately answered by a real person. The 911 director says this is because they're short-staffed, it's harder to keep employees, and they also want the public to be aware of this automated message and know that they'll get to your call as fast as they can.
What's your emergency?
When Charles Lean saw his home on fire, he immediately called 911.
5802 North Broadway, the house is on fire.
But it wasn't until the second call
Is anyone injured?
he talked with a real person.
No, not yet.
One fire extinguisher, when I opened the door, the smoke was so bad.
The first time he called 911, he heard this.
You've reached the Sedgwick County 911. All dispatchers are busy handling other emergency calls at this time. Please do not hang up.
And I thought, it can't be busy because it's 911, They're not supposed to ever be busy.
Well, everybody's out of the house right at the moment.
It was just kind of breathtaking, stunned. If there had been a person in there, there wouldn't have been no chance. That extra minute or two can make the difference.
And he's not the only one this has happened to.
When you're on the phone at that point in an emergency, it seems like it's hours upon hours.
Mary Kammerer's daughter has special needs and sometimes runs away into traffic. That's when Mary calls 911. But a couple times, the automated message picks up.
It makes me feel helpless. It makes me feel hopeless. Very frustrated.
Last year in Sedgwick County, 50% of 911 calls a day go to what's called the queue, which is an automated voice message. But we pulled the data. Most of the time, the hold time is 5 seconds or less. There are exceptions during busy times where you could be in there for minutes. But we found the data says it's rare.
We have spikes around 5 o'clock, 6 p.m.
911 Director Alora Forsheet says the goal is to never have you hear that automated message.
So we are always looking ahead at what we can do to staff to that anticipated call volume. But then there's always going to be events that we don't foresee, that we have no idea are coming. And so we'll never be able to eliminate that completely. From that happening and people hitting that queue.
I've had it happen. I've called 911 and the voice or the queue pops up. And you're like, wait, what?
We do have minimum staffing levels. We hire overtime to meet those minimum staffing levels, but we'd like to have way more staff on hand all the time. And so we are putting steps into place to make sure that we have room for staff. We're remodeling our 911 center to make sure that we've got plenty of desks available to fill those seats and have people there to answer the calls. And we're working through hiring initiatives. We have the pay increase. So things like that to make sure we have plenty of people on hand.
She says accidental dials and multiple people calling about the same emergency can tie up lines. And right now, they don't have a non-emergency line that could take calls that don't require EMS, fire, or police, which again ties up employees.
That is definitely in our plans for future growth, is that we want to have another avenue for those less emergent calls to move off to.
Hello, 911.
Every time you call 911, it could be a life-altering call in the seconds or minutes.
And are you wanting an officer to contact you?
You're on the phone, could mean life or death for some.
I was just shocked that I got automation and not a live person. And there's a lot of lives at stake there. Somebody needs to do something. It's got to be fixed. I just can't continue that.
911 says it's working on it.
We are really just trying to serve in the best way that we can through a growing team. And we just ask for our community to recognize that and be patient, and we want your trust in your 911 system. That's very important to us, and we are doing all that we can to make sure that trust remains.
Look at that data. Again, you have a 50% chance your 911 call will be answered by that automated message. And here's what's important. Don't hang up. The county says that will just cause you more delay. Again, most of the time it takes just seconds for a real person to answer the phone. We also wanted to show you this set of data. The slowest part of the day for dispatchers is at 4 a.m. They get about 18 or so calls during that time, with what the wait time is in the queue is almost 2 seconds. But take a look at this. We all know everyone has a cell phone these days. This is the 5 o'clock rush hour. There's about 80 calls during this time, with the wait time in the queue about 8 seconds long. The county says, for example, this could be like if there's an accident, dozens of people could be calling at the same time to dispatch, causing that delay. We also have a full breakdown of all the data on our website, kwch.com.